A few moments later. One eternity later.
5 times a day. They were showing parts of Brooklyn with the call to prayer blasting 5 times a day, from the wee hours of the morning to the late hours of night. And what do you just live with that? I'm assuming it's all Muslims in those areas. That would at least be, I don't know, better than Christians or even Jews having to live in that area. But how do you deal with that? How do you deal with that? How is it allowed? Under any other mayor, you'd at the very least, even dumb Eric Adams, you would at least get a response from the police for a call. Hey, it's like 5 a.m. There's a speaker blaring some savage music. I don't even know what they're saying. And you might get a cop that would have went, oh, yeah, well, we'll send someone out, don't you? O'Reilly, get in your car and go see what he's talking about. Perhaps my timeline is off with that. I've learned all of my police law enforcement from Bugs Bunny cartoons. Take the boys and surround the mosque. Yeah, I just don't understand how this is a thing that isn't frowned upon. And if you call the cops, I mean, if you were blasting, let's say you took a speaker and you were blasting Led Zeppelin from your balcony, and everyone in the area of Brooklyn you live in was hearing it, the cops would be there in a second. But for some reason, because it's religious, it gets a pass, and you're the bad guy for complaining about it, and they are allowed to continue and just blast that shit. Never forget. Remember that? No, not the first one. The Holocaust, not that one. The never forget 9/11. But Anthony, the Jews and Mossad, and they're the ones that... Let's put a pin in that argument and just go with the basic Muslims had at least something to do with it. Could you ever imagine we would live in a time where the call to prayer is blasted across New York City? I mean, we still see pictures and videos, but I don't think enough people have it in them to really remember the feeling, how you felt 9/11, 2001, when you saw everything going down in real time. The days, weeks, months after, the pile of debris at the former site of the World Trade Center, the smoke, you could smell it for miles. I lived in Brooklyn at the time, and every day you could smell that smell of burning. It smelled mostly like burning electronics. If you've ever had a piece of electronics short out, you get the and the smoke comes up, that is really the predominant smell you got a few miles away. If you were closer, unfortunately, you got the smell of death. And the papers, that's another thing I remember. Driving on the Gowanus Parkway from Brooklyn into New York, and the portions of the highway that had chain link fence on the borders of it, on the Manhattan side, papers from the wind were stuck to the chain link fence from the wind, and they were papers that were from businesses in the Trade Center. And you couldn't help but think about the people that put that through the copier or typed it up or whatever it was, and that they were dead. And that represented people. And those are the things, when people go remember, never forget, it's those things. It's not just this generic, oh, never forget. Oh, right. Let me pop up September 11th on Wikipedia, and I'll print it out and put it on my refrigerator so I never forget. No, never forgetting is the feeling that you got. The actual feeling. You know when someone in your family dies or a pet dies, or I hate to put that in the same category, but it's a feeling. That feeling you get of a close person's death. You can't describe it. It's not just sadness. It's not just missing the person. It's not just getting together with your family and remembering. There is a visceral feeling that you get in you of that. That's what I remember when I think about 9/11. That feeling that something in my life is gone, it's dead, it's never coming back. And that's what I don't forget. It's not the statistics. It's not the who, when, where, hows of the whole thing. It's this feeling of loss that we got on that day and the subsequent days where we saw Americans flying flags on their cars, American flags. This last gasp of unity as a country that we got. We felt some of it with the Iraq war, even though in hindsight we realized how ridiculous and unnecessary and scapegoating that was. But look, we're human and we wanted a bad guy. We wanted a bad guy to go after, and for some reason Iraq was included in that, and then Afghanistan, and I don't want to get too deep into those issues. We've done it already. We'll probably do it again at some juncture, but the last real feeling of unity, and it always, the most united you could feel is during adversity. During adversity that you could all commiserate with. All Americans felt like, God, motherfucker, these people. And even in New York City, well, I guess not even, but especially in New York City, that feeling of unity was just, it was there. We were all in the same boat. And we were more American than you can imagine. The bullshit we dealt with on a daily basis, driving in, trying to commute, especially around southern Manhattan, where, for years, the traffic was fucked up. And we were starting to go, you go in. We understand how, because these people felt like you did. There was this common loss that we felt. That is the no forget part. Not the shit you can Google. And people forgot. It went away. I didn't forget 9/11. Look, 3,400 people, and I see the pictures, and they drop it. Yeah, that's great. You forgot the feeling. That feeling of loss. The feeling that you get when a close person that you know is dead. What happened? Oh, no. You're kidding. Oh, you're at the funeral. Gone. Forgotten. And with that being forgotten, we've actually worked our way up to electing a Muslim mayor of that very city where every single member felt that loss and felt that way and said, I will never forget this. This isn't like Pearl Harbor. This isn't 80 fucking years ago, 85 years ago. 25 years. It's a long time for young people that might not have been there, and I could give them a pass. But anyone old enough to have been cognizant as to what was happening on that day. Yeah, how? How do you just go, well, I'll give Zoran a chance? No, diversity is our greatest strength. No, we should let them, by the hundreds, pray on their little rags in the middle of Times Square or in the middle of a road that's open that people are trying to commute on. We'll just let Muslims pray. If anyone brings up 9/11 and that it was Islam or this, or we need to keep them in check. That was bigoted what they did. Islamophobic. How do you forget? How do you forget? And I'll bring up like Japan. Imperial Empire Japan. Bombing Pearl Harbor brings us into World War II. Well, how in the fuck could we ever be on a friendly basis with them? How do we do business with the country of Japan? Well, after World War II, they certainly changed their tune. You look at pre and during World War II Japan as compared to what Japan is now, it is a different entity. Do you think Islam is different now than it was during 9/11? Do you honestly think their ideology is different? Japan was committed to the emperor. He was literally a god. Anything he said went. That's what it was. And the military adhered to what the emperor wanted and did. And when the military was asked to attack the United States, everything they did during World War II, torture. The Bataan Death March, all that shit. And then you look at Japan now and go, they learned from that ass beating. They learned. 2 atomic bombs and a lot more on the grill waiting to come off. And they said, yeah, we're done with this. We're done. We are going to adhere to this 20th century world. We're going to, you know what? We're pretty good at making electronics really small. And I bet the Western world will love this shit. Here's the Walkman. Ha! The Walkman. And we are now unbelievable allies. They are such a huge part of the civilized Western 21st century world. Do you see that with Islam? They live in Flintstone houses. They still have this archaic view of their place in this world. And they do believe everyone that doesn't believe in their religion needs to die. And they have no qualms about it. September 11th, 2001, and today, their mindset has not changed. We are still under just as much threat of a terrorist act from Islam as we were on September 11th. Now, I can't tell you why something of that magnitude hasn't happened. There's certainly been unbelievable atrocities committed by Islam between September 11th and now. Certainly. But that was their Super Bowl. That was huge. But can you honestly say, like you can say right now, what are the odds that Japan is going to bomb Pearl Harbor again? I think most reasonable people can assume there ain't a shit fuck chance of that ever happening right now. Can you honestly say that Islam would never do anything of the magnitude of 9/11 again? Right now, today, tomorrow, a week from now? You can't say that. You cannot say that. They're the same fucking people with the same ideology as they were on 9/11, on all the terrorist acts that happened before 9/11 and after 9/11. Running people over, bombing kids at a concert in England. And New York sees fit to elect a Muslim mayor who, by the way, throw communist in there too. That's the innocent who gives a shit, well, whatever part. And that's where we are. And if you speak up about it, you are bigoted because you fuckers forgot. Not the stats, not the date, not the way it happened and the logistics. You forgot that fucking feeling in your chest, in your head, that pall that was pulled over all of us when something tragic happens. There's a loss. It's all encompassing in your mind. You can't think of anything else. Depressing. That's what was forgotten. And fucking shame on you for forgetting it.